Never meant to cause you any sorrow.
Good evening. We are tracking breaking developments from the entertainment capital as international media networks scramble to dissect the massive fallout from the recent live grand finale of Britain's Got Talent Season 19. Millions of viewers worldwide settled in for what was widely expected to be a historic coronation night for a breakout superstar. But the live broadcast quickly devolved into what many media watchdogs are calling a historic operational blunder. When the final tallies were read aloud on live television, a heavy, suffocating silence gripped the studio before an unprecedented wave of audible disapproval cascaded from the live audience. The shocking reality that of this magnitude did not even secure a spot in the top 3 positions has sent shockwaves through the global broadcasting community, prompting widespread allegations of systemic failure within the network's processing systems. Almost immediately, the broadcast signal was flooded with thousands of real-time viewer protests, causing several digital tracking platforms to spike in traffic as users demanded absolute transparency regarding how the network managed the millions of incoming digital ballots. Media analysts are noting that the immediate atmospheric shift inside the auditorium was not merely a reaction to a standard reality show elimination, but rather a collective, visceral rejection of a corporate decision that felt entirely detached from the clear consensus of the viewing public. To accurately quantify the sheer scale of this broadcast controversy, our investigative desk must look back at the historic milestones achieved during this specific competitor's meteoric rise through the television ranks. Arriving from Glasgow with a self-stated mission to permanently dismantle his self-perceived reputation as a perennial reality competition underachiever, this vocalist rewrote the modern broadcasting playbook by delivering a performance so undeniably precise it shattered traditional network boundaries. During the initial audition phase, a soaring interpretation of Prince's iconic anthem, Purple Rain, forced an immediate and legendary capitulation from the notoriously critical executive producer, who triggered the first golden buzzer amidst absolute auditorium pandemonium. But the true institutional anomaly occurred during the live semifinal phase, where an epic rendition of classic rock ballad, Dream On, compelled Judge Holden to bypass standard regulatory protocols and deploy an unprecedented second golden buzzer, a historic dual validation that had never been seen before in a standard seasonal cycle. Industry professionals quickly labeled the performer as an absolute mathematical lock for the grand prize, noting that his vocal control, expansive range, and magnetic stage presence had effectively transformed the commercial television program into an independent showcase for elite world-class artistry, making the eventual grand finale deficit feel deeply artificial to music purists worldwide. As the official news bulletins confirmed that the prestigious trophy, the £250,000 cash prize, and the coveted Royal Variety performance slot were officially being awarded to a regional farming choir, independent media analysts immediately began launching deep-dive investigations into the inner workings of commercial television production. Behind the heavily guarded curtains of the studio complex, rumors intensified regarding profound philosophical disagreements breaking out among senior executive producers and high-ranking network administrators during the final voting window. Speculation began to dominate media trade publications, with independent commentators questioning whether a highly localized voting demographic had intentionally leveraged the system to favor a traditional domestic act over a globally trending international powerhouse. Serious concerns have surfaced within digital media circles, suggesting that major network algorithms may have actively suppressed the international voting engagement metrics to ensure a highly specific, traditional outcome that aligned more closely with the network's legacy marketing objectives. While network representatives have steadfastly maintained that the final outcome was the direct result of a completely public ballot, digital forensics teams, tracking the internet trends, noted that the statistical divergence between global viral engagement and the localized finale tally represents one of the most volatile data anomalies in modern reality television history. The localized television broadcast quickly transformed into a massive, multi-continental media event as international entertainment bureaus and prominent broadcast journalists from across the globe began issuing scathing critiques of the finale's outcome. Major news outlets throughout Southeast Asia and Western Europe published analytical editorials openly questioning the long-term institutional integrity of standard commercial talent formats if the infrastructure is fundamentally incapable of protecting and elevating its most objectively elite participants. Vocal coaches, industry insiders, and independent digital creators collectively mobilized across various streaming platforms, producing thousands of hours of real-time analysis that characterized the fourth-place finish not as a legitimate competitive defeat, but as a severe institutional failure by network brass. This massive global media polarization has effectively unified millions of disparate internet users into a highly organized, vocal resistance movement that is openly challenging the cultural authority of corporate media gatekeepers to define true artistic merit. Entertainment trade experts are warning that the sustained global outrage generated by this single broadcasting episode could permanently damage the international syndication value of the franchise, as overseas audiences increasingly voice deep skepticism regarding the baseline transparency and ultimate validity of corporate-sponsored competitive telephone voting systems. However, a deeper, highly sophisticated investigative perspective is beginning to emerge among seasoned entertainment attorneys and major music industry management firms regarding the hidden mechanics of television contracts. Historical data reveals that corporate talent show victories often come attached to incredibly restrictive, long-term multi-album recording agreements that heavily favor network profitability over an independent artist's long-term creative autonomy and intellectual property rights. By narrowly missing the official top 3 podium finish, this particular performer has unexpectedly avoided the notorious legal constraints that traditionally bind the official corporate champion, effectively emerging from the televised ordeal as a completely unencumbered, high-value free agent. Financial analysts specializing in modern digital media projects are suggesting that walking away from the official network crown might represent the most lucrative operational pivot an independent creator could possibly hope to execute in the current media ecosystem. Backed by a fiercely loyal, highly energized global audience that feels an intense, protective ownership over his professional trajectory, this vocalist now possesses the unique leverage required to dictate his own terms to major global record labels, transforming a televised setback into a masterful in modern personal brand building. The definitive validation of this strategic media pivot has arrived much faster than traditional network executives ever anticipated, completely rendering the official television scoreboard obsolete in the face of raw market demand. Our news desk can officially confirm that instead of retreating into the standard post-show obscurity that typically swallows up reality television alumni, the performer has successfully capitalized on the historic viral outrage to secure elite, mainstream theatrical positioning. High-level theater production bulletins have confirmed his official casting as Annas in the upcoming high-profile London West End production of Jesus Christ Superstar, a prestigious professional milestone that solidifies his transition from a temporary reality television contestant to an established, elite live theater professional. This rapid transition to the legendary stages of London's West End serves as a definitive, undeniable declaration to the entire entertainment industry that true artistic longevity can no longer be contained or compromised by the arbitrary decisions of a localized reality show voting bloc. In his own official statements released across his digital platforms, the performer calmly reminded his millions of followers that this historic television chapter marks the absolute beginning of a massive global campaign, leaving traditional television executives to contemplate a harsh reality where the show did not actually minimize a performer, but instead permanently minimized its own remaining cultural relevance.